you. So this is a space that we love to see young people in, and we've got libraries all over the city, 26 in all, that offer some semblance of the things that we've got going on here. So it is my pleasure to welcome you to MLK. This is your library, and I'd love to see you guys here more often. I am very excited about not only having Raja here, but the Racing with Raja program is really important for me as the director of the libraries to continue to introduce programs to libraries that are unique. Rob mentioned Know Your Power, which is about video and art and music. And now this STEM program that involves racing simulation. These are the sorts of things that make people understand that libraries are much more than just books, but they really are just sort of learning however you want to do it. So it's great that this is here. I've got a personal connection to racing. I was telling Raja earlier that my wife's grandfather designed the first race course in Watkins Glen, which is a very famous race course up in the Finger Lakes in New York State. If my father-in-law were here, he would just be fanboying all over Raja, and he's going to be really jealous when he hears and sees about this a little bit later. I guess the last thing I'll say before I turn it over to some partners, you know, I'm an English major. I know some of you guys will be going off to college soon, and sometimes I feel like I don't talk enough about books and reading, and I think I'm going to put Raja on the spot a little bit and talk about books and reading, because for me that's all foundational. You can be a race car driver, you could do everything you want in the world, but reading turns you into a critical thinker, and we're going to need critical thinkers because we've got a lot of problems in this world that you guys are going to have to figure out. So thanks all for being here. Again, I'm going to turn it over to at least one more partner, and then I'm going to come back up in a minute with Raja, and we're going to just chat and then open it up to you guys. So please have some questions spinning around.
All right, thank you, Rich. My name is Anwar Salim. I'm the executive director for H Street Main Street, and we gave Raja his first job. And I remember he came to us talking about the STEM project, or not a STEM project, but a stimulator. And it was something strange to me. Being a diesel mechanic, it was something strange to me, and it was a learning process to me. But my job was to teach Raja, you know, peer mediation, customer service, financial literacy, and give him his first summer job and guide him along the way. But Raja was constantly teaching us something different, something about racing and motor racing and this little gadget hooked up this computer and stepping on the accelerator and doing something different that we haven't seen before. And I thought this was unique, and we wanted to allow him to do what he had to do, just do his thing. And we found that, you know, he was pretty much successful. He was pretty much into this thing. And since we've been following him and watching his success, I remember him getting to programs and riding these little teeny cars, and I'm saying, okay, he's doing little teeny cars, he's doing some other things. That's the way we're looking at it. But at the same time, he's educating me. He's educating us. And then eventually we watched him start winning races. And I'm like, okay, this thing is really serious. He's really into this thing. And then eventually, you know, he stopped winning. And then we also did the H Street Festival. And he brought his car to H Street Festival and watched crowds hang around his car and talk about we would like to have something like this on H Street. We still have a summer youth program where we dealt with AI last year. And we saw how we can really educate these young kids about AI and how they can deal with art and how they can deal with motor vehicle things and all those. The AI is involved in almost everything now. And so what we decided we wanted to do, that we wanted to try to find a way to bring the STEM education project to H Street. We have the old AutoZone on H Street, and we would love to bring this STEM project to H Street. Not only that, I remember a few years ago when Anthony Williams had the race around over by RFK Stadium. We would love to bring some type of race to RFK Stadium around H Street, near H Street, to really involve people in Washington, D.C., what racing is all about. So again, you have inspired us, and our job is to listen to you, not only Raja, but listen to our young peers and give you the tools that really catapult us into the future. So again, I'm here to learn, I'm still learning, and Raja, man, look, you've done a great job, and we'll continue to watch you, and guess what? The same things in Raja is in you. You just have to find a way to bring it out. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Anwar. My name is Samantha Caruth. I'm mom. And so, mom and dad are in the house. I just want to remind you, y'all are high schoolers, you don't want your parents around all the time. But we're in the wings, we're at your elbow, we're supporting you. So when you go home today, think about mentioning to them what you did today, what was a little bit different about your school day, what you're curious about. Who knows, they may say, oh, I have a question, or I'm not so sure, but just know that we're here. Even if we get on your nerves, we're here to support you. I want to say that we're so excited that Anwar was able to share. This is about partnerships. It's DC Public Schools, it's Dunbar, it's Walls, it's Microsoft, it's Chevrolet, it's GM, it's all these different partners, the Library Foundation, the list goes on and on. So that just reminds you, it's not one person. Raja is not doing this on his own. He's got a whole team backing him up. Our neighbors and our friends and our family members are all here. So just remember that you have a whole team with you. Take them with you. Raja remembers being a Wall student and coming to school trips and projects to the library, to the National Gallery, Portrait Gallery. He was just here in your shoes. So just remember that it's a short journey, but that you have a lot of people that have to support you in that. So I have a brief remarks to share before we kick off to the next part of our program. So we have a message from one of our partners in North Carolina. So I'm going to share this quote. Racing with Raja and Microsoft have also begun exploring collaborative opportunities and synergies with the NASCAR Hall of Fame. They're located in Charlotte, North Carolina. And their message is, we're excited to identify opportunities to collaborate with Raja, Microsoft, and other partners. And the quote is from Winston Kelly, who's the NASCAR Hall of Fame Executive Director. The Hall of Fame Education Program mission is to educate and engage students in their discovery about NASCAR, to teach them how to apply STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, through real-world application, and to provide an experiential learning environment, including highlighting careers within the sport, all aligning with the Racing with Raja initiative. So with all of that, you have all this foundation setting. Now we're going to get into the much more exciting part. To hear from Raja, and also we're going to bring back up DC Public Library Executive Director, Rich Reyes-Gavilan.
Before we start, Raja Caruth.
Morning, everybody.
So what was your worst class at Walls? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to start with that. Lots of questions for you, Raja, and I'm going to start with maybe your origin story. Your journey into racing wasn't traditional, and so maybe you can talk about some of the stuff I've heard and read, a movie and esports. Can you talk to us about how you got into all this?
Yeah, for sure. I think before we get started, definitely want to just acknowledge, obviously, what has happened over the last couple of days here in the city. It's pretty unfortunate there over the river out by the airport. But in terms of my origin story, really it's pretty much just like you guys. I mean, growing up on K and 10th over by Gallaudet and taking the circulator to Union and then getting on the Red Line to Metro Center and then over to Foggy Bottom. I mean, just like you guys. So, and for me, while I was doing that and running track, playing basketball, playing soccer, I'd always loved racing from when I was even younger than that. And for me, I didn't get started till I was 15, 16, which would have had me a sophomore in school at Walls in Mr. Anwar's program. And that's really how it started in terms of driving. But otherwise, I was pretty much just a normal DC kid, pretty much just riding Lime scooters and just being around, pretty much.
I hate to tell you, the circulator is no more.
I did hear that.
So
That
you
kinda
can't
sucks.
get to school on it any longer. What's this about the movie Cars? I think I saw Michael
For
Strahan
sure.
talk about that when you were
Yeah.
on Good Morning America.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw the Cars movie when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And wait, what year were you guys born in? That's really funny, actually. But I'm sure all of you guys have seen it. So that movie for me, my parents took us to see it when I was 4 or 5, and really from then that really just budded that interest and really grew till I went to my first race at Richmond, not too far down the road.
So you're a very young driver, right? Which sets you apart from a lot of the NASCAR drivers. You know, you're one of very few black drivers. How do you sort of exist in this world where you're quite different? How does it, you know, how do you navigate the world of NASCAR, which is traditionally older and traditionally white?
Yeah, it's definitely it was a culture shock. I mean, coming from DC to moving to Concord, North Carolina, it's not the sticks, but it definitely is a little bit of a culture shock for sure. But honestly, I mean, from coming from Walls in DC to going to Winston-Salem State to continue my education at school, or in college, I should say, that kind of helped bridge the gap a little bit because I not only was going to school, but also went straight into the workforce of working at the race team. I was driving, but on a very infrequent basis, maybe like one race a month, if that. And so it was very infrequent. And so at the same time, I was working in the race shop and getting my education. So definitely was a culture shock for sure. But one thing that helped me was just following my why, following my passion. And with that came a lot of dedication and determination in terms of just focusing on taking in film, learning about the cars that I was driving, becoming somewhat knowing about the mechanics and stuff like that. I don't think I could put a car together, but, you know, when I was racing, you know, I could change, you know, my own oil and do all the different things that normally a driver wouldn't do. And just a lot of different things that all stem from really following my why and giving all I got into my passion.
Great. So this is probably a good time to segue. You mentioned learning about cars, right? And just learning about how to put them together. Let's talk a little bit about the program, Racing with Raja. How did you sort of, you know, get involved in the program itself? And would love to hear about maybe some real world examples of like how STEM learning has helped you in your career.
Yeah, so I think I really got to attribute a lot of it to my dad, who's sitting over there with Mr. Steven right there. And for me, really with the relationship that we had with Microsoft and the relationship we had started with GM and Chevrolet, that really was just a good marriage that's really proved to fruition. With, for me, my parents are both educators and continuing my education. Racing also is an integral part of my identity, so I felt like marrying the two was super important. And so racing isn't something that's readily available, whether it's here in DC, Atlanta, you know, Brooklyn, you know, many metropolitan cities across the country. And so to really get it institutionalized at a curriculum level, I think it's super important just to provide you guys with different options as to what is out there, you know, because obviously you can go to school and go a certain way, but there's so many different things that you can get involved in, and racing is one of them, whether it's driving or being an engineer, or there's plenty of other jobs, and you get paid very nicely. So
A little bit about the future of racing, right? So esports is getting bigger and bigger. Artificial intelligence is taking over all facets of our lives. You know, a lot of these kids are going to be entering school and the workforce in a few years. You know, what is your take on the future of racing, especially as it pertains to like all the technological pieces that are entering the sphere?
yeah, for sure. I mean, simulation's a essential tool. I mean, it's so advanced that literally the cars and trucks that we drive are laser scanned, and every part of their suspension, their skeleton, is replicated on our simulator programs, and we can test different springs, different shocks, different body offsets to where we know what'll work at a certain racetrack and what not to bring to certain racetracks. It's an essential tool that is a very prominent part of our preparation, and it's really going to continue to be like that for years to come.
Cool. Well, we're going to mix in some audience participation now. I don't want to hog up
Definitely.
all of your time because I've got lots of questions. I was going to ask you because I have to. Do you have are you a reader? I think Mom said that
y'all
you
gonna
were.
like this. Okay, so I used to like reading when I was younger, and then I got to like middle school, high school, and I absolutely hated reading because we'd have to do it for school, like reading like Beowulf and stuff like that, and it just was like, you know, I just
Do
didn't
they
feel like
still
doing
assign
it.
Beowulf? I don't think they
y'all
do.
have to do that?
Really?
Yeah. You guys have let's see, is Mr. McGlennon still there? Yeah, Mr. Ghazi. Yeah. So, which I mean, it was cool and stuff, but I mean, I liked it, but having to read them and do, bibliographies and outlines and all that
Yeah.
stuff, it kind of got, not as fun because it was for assignments. But as I, finished school and got into college, I had a African American Studies class my freshman year, and that was really cool because we read Asata, about Asata Shakur, and that was a really great piece that we did a lot of work on in school. And really from that point forward, it stemmed interest of me just finding stuff to read that I enjoyed. So for me, my favorite book is The Four Agreements, and that's something that is more kind of like self-reflection and kind of focusing on your response to different things that happen to you, whether it's in the workplace or personally or really whatever you have going on. And it's not a big book, it's not super long, but that's my favorite one for sure.
Awesome. Glad you had an answer for that one. All right, folks, we're going to open it up to some questions. Who wants to start? Hey, we've got mics.
My name is Cyrus. I go to school at Walls. Thank you, Gideon. Okay, so I was just wondering, it's not a serious question, but when you're driving, how do you get into the zone? Like, do you listen to music? Like, I know when I'm driving, I listen to music. I push it a little bit, probably too much, like go too fast. But like, how do you like lock into the race?
For me, it's kind of like, playing other sports. I think in workouts and training and stuff, I do listen to a lot of music, but in terms of like actually in racing scenarios, we're in communication with our crew chiefs, which are like our head coaches, our spotters. They're like kind of offensive coordinators, kind of to an extent of like telling you what's around you, your required information you need to know. So there's unfortunately not really a place to listen to music. Personally, I would be listening to music while I was driving if I was allowed, but that's not really allowed. So, but yeah, I do listen to music kind of on my training and preparation, but we can't, while we're driving because we have kind of our noise canceling earbuds, and then they're kind of feeding us that information. So.
My name is Sean. I also go to school at Walls, and I was wondering, do you prefer driving trucks or or cars, like regular race cars?
I mean, both what's crazy is that they're very similar on like, if you took off the bodies, like the suspension and like the engine parts and stuff, they're very, very similar. But like you said, like it's a truck and the body's way different. Like the spoiler's different. It's taller versus a car, which is lower to the ground. The front of the car is different. There's a tinier spoiler on the back. So there are a lot of different handling characteristics. So I'd say in the truck racing, because of how they're built, the racing is a lot more kind of packed together. And so it's a lot more tactical driving versus like in the cars, it's more just of how skilled you are more so than anything. So I've liked both. I think because of the trucks, it's a lot more competitive because maybe someone could have a better truck than you or their team could have prepared better. But you kind of could be like place yourself in better situations by just kind of being a little bit more calculated. But whereas with the cars, it matters a lot about how the team puts it together, but you can just like outdrive somebody versus like in a truck, you can be a lot more defensive and just keep somebody behind you, even if they have a better one than you do.
Down here.
Hello, I'm Jaden. I go to Dunbar. I have a question about what are the critical skills required to participate in racing?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I think from a driving perspective, obviously there's hand-eye coordination, there's kind of managing your emotions, and you have to be in shape. Like I said, I ran track, I played basketball, I played soccer, so having a really big background with good cardio health was super important because in racing, we don't have timeouts, we don't have breaks, we're just going for really hours on end, so you have to really have not only that, cardiovascular health, but also that core, upper body and lower body strength to be able to control the car and truck with the G-forces that you have and how hard it is to actually like turn the steering wheel and use the pedals and all that. So aside from that, it's important, I think, to have at least a basic knowledge of, the car in terms of your tires and how you impact them, how you manipulate your vehicle. A little bit of, understanding like vehicle dynamics and kind of the physics, not like the numbers per se, but just kind of your instruments and everything. So I hope that answered your question. I kind of rambled a little bit, but cool.
My name is Brooke. I go to Dunbar, and my question is, how is it racing with all the other racers? Is it like scary?
No, I wouldn't say it's scary. Well, at first it was because I just didn't. I grew up racing online, you know, and I remember I hit the wall for the first time, and that hurt a lot. So, but honestly, I mean, you accept that, you know, you're going fast, and once you learn your instruments and really the dimensions of your vehicle, I mean, it's at the end of the day, you control your car or your truck, and you can be prepared for what other people do, and that's really it. So it can be scary to, you know, when you're getting started, but as your experience grows, it's nothing. So.
Hello, my name is Diaria. I'm from Dunbar, and my question to you is, if you had any chance to change your life, may it be work, racing, or personal, would you change it?
That's a great question. I don't think I'd change anything. I think kind of the experiences I had here growing up in the city, like, you know, the good and bad, it helped prepare me for going into real life, you know, outside of the city, and being prepared for different things that were thrown my way, good or bad. So I wouldn't change anything. I think about a lot of times I mentioned I was in an internship here or at GW when I was a junior at Walls in the box office, and I remember learning kind of about marketing and the business side of sports. And that was at the time you do college applications and all that stuff, and I didn't think I was going to race at all. And so that was really a bummer because it was something that I had really been looking forward to for a long time, and it didn't seem like it was going to work out. And so I kept striving through those non-ideal times, and fortunately it worked out. So I would say I wouldn't change anything because the good and the bad helped mold me into who I am and help me be prepared for being able to drive and carry myself.
Thank you. Back there.
Hello, my name is Victoria. I'm a student at School Without Walls, and I would like to ask I would like to ask if you had any advice for your younger self or for any other students who are interested in this career and this work.
That's also a really good question. I think my advice to you guys, if y'all were interested in racing but not necessarily racing, you know, other unconventional fields or jobs or sports, I mean, just do it. Like, yes, it shouldn't be easy, and it won't be, but you just have to wake up every day and do your best, whether that's 100% or 50. I mean, do your best and do the little things that you feel like will set you apart, and do the work, do the research, and put in the effort, and that's really it, you know. And wherever that journey takes you, enjoy it, because one thing that I have realized is you get so caught up in getting to the end goal, you lose a little presence on the journey and kind of the steps you take. So I would say embrace the journey for sure, you know, the good and bad of it. It's super important experience.
So what factors played into you getting into racing? Was it like video games, movies, anything like that?
Yeah, so yeah, I saw the cars move when I was younger, and then since I grew up here, I didn't have any connections into driving at all, so I had to race online. But typically, to get connected into racing, either your family is involved in it or you have a sponsor or a benefactor kind of investing into you to race go-karts, regional racing at a youth level to kind of work your way up through the ladder. But for me, I raced online. I made a NASCAR Drive for Diversity program, and they kind of developed me and showed me how to drive and how to market myself and kind of the whole package you need to, you know, be not just a driver, but a professional athlete. So.
Oh yeah, my apologies. What is it? I'm Quab and I go to School Without Walls.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, who'd you have for your track coach?
I had is Coach Scott still there? Yeah. I had Coach Scott. So first I had Coach Mike Gasky, and then Coach Scott. Yeah, Coach Scott's still there. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Boy.
All right, I'm Gideon, and I also go to School Without Walls. And I have a question of, is your final goal NASCAR Cup Series?
Yeah.
Because I know you've driven the Craftsman Series and the Xfinity racing as well. And then would you consider doing IndyCar or some open wheel stuff?
Yeah, I mean, for my immediate goal for sure is to make it to the Cup Series and be successful up there. But the more I've raced, the more I have an appreciation for other disciplines, like you said. So fortunately, like in April, I'll get to drive a Formula E car, so that'll be a really cool experience. to race like a big or drive something that big that's open wheels. I've run dirt. I've run different, road course cars over the years, Corvettes and Camaros and stuff like that. So that'll be a really cool experience. So yeah, I'd love to kind of race that other stuff, but the main thing is racing on Sundays in the Cup Series for sure.
All right, I think we've got one more or two more.
Yeah, let's do two more.
Let's do two more.
Any other? Yeah. I saw one, maybe two over there, and then one over there.
Hi, my name's Amira. I go to School Without Walls, and my question is, being a minority in the sport you're in, how do you weather that in today's climate? And also, what are the mental aspects of strengthening yourself to race?
Oh, that's very solid questions. I think to answer your first question, I think it's really being solidified, in my roots, in my upbringing, with not only here in the city, but my Caribbean household with my parents, and really being solidified in that background and my identity from that perspective, because, you go to all these different places like Kansas City, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, Darlington, South Carolina, Talladega, Alabama, like these places normally we wouldn't be going. So just to be really structured and fortified in those areas. And then from the mental perspective, I started seeing a therapist my second or third year driving, and that really helped me, because you go as a driver, but not only as a driver, as a young person getting into the workforce, you're so focused on the next thing and being as good as you can in your field that I think a lot of times you can lose presence on yourself and reflecting on your responses to things and your mental strength and all that stuff. So, having somebody to talk to, for me, it was my therapist, and that really kind of helped me honestly be successful, was to manage kind of the ebbs and flows of the sport.
Okay, one more. Oh, that's it? Oh, wait, we had one more.
And
Last
then
one. Sorry.
Let's do two.
All right, two more.
Yeah.
Quick, and that's it.
Okay, my name is Tasneem. I go to School Without Walls, and I was wondering, what is your favorite, or was your favorite or your least favorite class at Walls?
That's a great question. My favorite class? Oh, dang, I gotta remember. Okay, I'll start with my least favorite. I don't even want to say least favorite. For me, like, humanities was hard. Like, junior, senior year, humanities was hard. Spanish was hard too. You said Mr. Catlin? Is he still there? Yo, that's crazy. That's a great question. I really like my history classes. Like, I Miss Blessing. Trying to remember. Is Miss O'Neill still there? Yeah, I like Miss O'Neill was great. I like my history classes. A-Push was hard. I didn't get a good grade on the exam, which it's okay. I know y'all probably, wait, have you guys already finished all your APs pretty much? Well, do your best, but don't trip on it. It's really not, it helps, but it's really not the end of the world. So yeah, I liked my history classes. My gym classes and my health classes with Mr. Matthews were a lot of fun. Enjoyed myself. Actually, my favorite class was Cinematic Arts with Mr. Bullock. Yeah, that was probably my favorite class. I took it in two parts, or I guess for two portions. That was probably my favorite classes.
All right, last one.
Hi, I'm Calvin with School Without Walls, and I was wondering how much sim racing, and specifically stuff like force feedback, compares to actual racing.
Yeah, I think the force feedback, that's one thing I've really learned as I've experienced more in real life, because the tire is super important. I mean, if you think about it, it's the thing that's touching the racetrack. So your understanding of the tire in terms of how you load it, how you slip it, the heat of it, that's really important to how well you can drive a vehicle. So playing with that force feedback and really what the information the steering wheel gives to you, through the simulator in your hands, but also what you see, it's really important, because you can get that early understanding of what the tire feel is, and understanding really how to manipulate it to really accomplish what you want. So that way, when you start racing in real life, it's not easy, because you still have to feel it kind of in your body versus just seeing it on the screen, but it really jumpstarts that process.
Awesome. Well, great questions, everyone. We're going to move to the next part of the program, which is the simulation or some other stuff. All right. Well, I'm just going to get out of the way. First, can we just give Raja a great big round of applause?
Yeah, thank y'all for coming. Was this, y'all have lunch 1 or lunch 2 for the Walls kids? Lunch? Oh, so it's kind of mixed? Okay, y'all just got out of class. Nice.
Thanks again for coming. You are an incredibly impressive young man, and
Thanks.
I cannot wait to follow your career outside of racing because I've got a feeling you're going to do some other things too. So
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. All right. And we're off. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Good. Good to see your faces. My name is Tanisha Griffith. I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft, and I had the privilege of working on Racing with Raja for a few years now, so I'm super excited that you all will be able to experience it, the full version. And I'm going to be doing just a brief curriculum overview so you can see all the amazing things that you'll get to experience inside of the curriculum. Thank you.
Leads to speed racing. Ready to race into the world of STEM? How STEM Leads to Speed Racing with Raja takes students aged 12 to 15 on an adrenaline-packed journey into motorsports with NASCAR driver Raja Guru. Learn how STEM fuels speed as Raja shares his journey from iRacing to NASCAR winner. Dive into race strategy, vehicle mechanics, and AI-driven tactics. With hands-on activities using Copilot and Microsoft Designer, students explore AI, physics, and engineering, creating their own motorsports persona and optimizing race performance. Discover careers behind the wheel, from pit crews to race strategists, and unlock the power of AI in shaping race success. Along the way, students collaborate, think critically, and apply real-world STEM concepts, all while learning how technology drives performance and success on the track. Access the full program and hands-on activities, all hosted on Microsoft Learn, and find out how STEM leads to speed.
These lessons were actually developed with subject matter experts in the motorsports industry to give you all the most authentic experience. So you'll get taken to the track by a pit crew expert to learn all about tire pressure and horsepower. You also get a walkthrough by a vehicle designer who's going to show you how he brings cars to life with graphics and images and branding. And you'll also get a chance to learn more about the careers in motorsports, including from Raja Kruth himself, where you'll learn how he got his start in video games, which, are there any gamers in the house? Any gamers in the house? Some of you? All right, well, some of you will get a chance to experience a racing simulator today as well. And thanks to our partners, iRacing. Most of the in-game racing footage, most of the racing footage that you'll see in the curriculum is actually in-game footage. So you'll be learning aerodynamics, speed, all through video game simulation. So I think that's pretty cool. So gamers in the house, you'll be learning through video games through this. Some of my favorite lessons in this curriculum are the hands-on AI lessons. So AI is really big, it's really important. So we've incorporated AI into these lessons. You'll be learning how to create your own motorsports brand and persona using Microsoft Designer and Copilot. You'll also learn how to research with AI, and you'll learn about machine learning and how Microsoft AI can analyze images. You'll be actually doing that yourself in the curriculum. So that's really awesome. I'm happy to say that all of this curriculum is available for free on Microsoft Learn. So educators in the house, you can access this on Microsoft Learn in our Educator Center. All you have to do is go into the instructor materials and download everything that you need. It's absolutely free, and you'll get everything, including full facilitator guides. You'll also get all of the learning objectives and resources that you need, tips, and everything you need to get started with the curriculum is all there, including you'll learn about how you can connect with our local Best Buy Teen Tech Centers. So Janet's in the house. Make sure you talk to her if you're interested in learning how you can participate in Race with Raja at the local DC Best Buy Teen Tech Center. But we've done Racing with Raja experiences all over the country, and we've received such a positive response from students all over. So we are really excited that you all will get a chance to get the full version of Racing with Raja curriculum for your schools and your camps and after-school programs. So we were really excited about that. And also, like I said before, you all will get a chance to experience racing on a simulator. So some of the gamers raise their hands in the house. But first, we are going to invite the man of the hour himself, Raja Karuth, up to show you guys how it's done. We have the Xbox simulator. We have Forza Motorsports. Anybody ever play Forza? Got some hands? Okay. So we have our Xbox simulator that is going to be such a fun experience. After that, we're going to have 3 of the library council members come up to challenge Raja's time. Felicia, Zanaya, Effasan, are y'all in the house? All right. And then we're also going to be breaking up, so you're going to get more time to spend with Raja Karuth. You're going to get a chance to experience the car, racing simulators, and have a really good time. So just give us a moment to set it all up. I'm really excited to bring this program to you guys today. Thank you.
All right, as we get started here, I want to let everybody know that, and this is your job to go back and tell all your friends and colleagues and folks at schools, we're going to be running the Racing with Raja program along with the simulators at 3 different libraries this summer. There'll be 3 dates. And you'll see a QR code later up here where you can sign up as an interest form to make sure that you get the information once it comes out. We're finalizing the dates, but we're really excited. One will be at the Anacostia Library, one will be at the Woodridge Library in Ward 5, and one will be here at MLK. So we're hoping that spreading the message through you all will get the word out, and we'll get plenty of folks to sign up. All right? So with that being said, I think we're ready to see what kind of time Raja can put up. Good luck.
Give it up for Raja Caruth.